In this video, we dive deep into Nietzsche's dark warning about modern love, why what feels like passion may actually be stealing your freedom and identity. Have you ever wondered if love is truly lifting you up or quietly holding you back? It's time to face the raw truth about relationships and reclaim your power. Join me as we uncover how to love fiercely without losing yourself. When Nietzsche turned his gaze toward love, he did not see the soft idol painted by poets or the saccharine fantasies sold by society. Instead, he saw a force that could enslave even the strongest spirit if misunderstood or unexamined. Modern love, Nietzsche warned, is often a carefully constructed illusion, a shimmering veil that hides the danger of emotional dependency beneath its alluring surface. It is here in this seductive trap that many lose themselves, sacrificing their autonomy and the very essence of their being. Love, in its purest form, should be a celebration of life's vitality, a union of two wills that enrich each other while preserving their unique strengths. Yet Nietzsche recognized that what many call love today is a far cry from this ideal. It is frequently a pathology, a psychological state where desire morphs into neediness and passion devolves into possession. The modern lover risks becoming a shadow, defined not by who they are but by their attachment to another. Nietzsche's piercing insight exposes this as a grave danger because the loss of self in love is no small matter. It is a slow erosion of the will to power, the driving force behind human greatness. Emotional dependency is the crux of Nietzsche's dark warning. When love becomes dependency, it transforms from a source of strength into a weakness. The dependent lover does not stand tall and free, instead they cling, fearful of abandonment and hollow without the other's presence. Nietzsche saw this clinging as a surrender, a silent capitulation to the loss of freedom. To lose one's independence in love is to lose the very foundation upon which one builds meaning, creativity, and growth. The dependent soul becomes fragile, vulnerable to the slightest disturbance in the relationship, and often suffers in silence, unable to reclaim their power. But why does modern love so easily slip into this trap? Nietzsche believed it was because of the illusions we collectively nurture about what love should be. Society often teaches us that love is about completion, about finding the missing piece that makes us whole. This narrative, while comforting, is fundamentally flawed. It suggests that we are incomplete without another, that our identity depends on union rather than self-possession. Nietzsche rejects this idea with a fierce conviction. To love rightly, one must first be whole within oneself. Only a soul firmly grounded in its own strength can truly encounter another without losing itself. This leads to Nietzsche's sharp critique of romantic idealism, the dream of eternal unity, perfect harmony, and selfless sacrifice. Such ideals, he warns, mask the underlying power dynamics and psychological realities of love. Love is not always serene or selfless. It is often tumultuous, demanding, and fraught with conflict. The myth of perfect love can blind us to these truths, encouraging us to endure suffering or diminish our desires in the name of an impossible ideal. Nietzsche calls this romanticism a deception that weakens the spirit and entangles us in a web of false expectations. The danger extends beyond individual relationships to the culture of modern love itself. Nietzsche observed how the rise of consumerism and mass culture commodifies love, reducing it to a transaction or entertainment. Love becomes a product to be consumed, discarded, and replaced, further deepening the sense of insecurity and dependency. In this landscape, the authentic encounter of two strong wills becomes rare, as people chase fleeting feelings rather than meaningful connection. Nietzsche's critique urges us to see through this commodification and reclaim love as a transformative, life-affirming force. Yet, Nietzsche does not leave us in despair. His critique is a call to awareness and awakening. Recognizing the illusions of modern love is the first step toward reclaiming our power. It is an invitation to reject emotional dependency and instead cultivate a love rooted in strength, freedom, and mutual respect. This kind of love does not demand completion or sacrifice but encourages growth and self-overcoming. It honors individuality while embracing connection, a dynamic dance where two independent wills meet not to merge but to create. Nietzsche's insight reminds us that the highest form of love is a test of the will to power itself. Love challenges us to confront our fears, desires, and vulnerabilities without losing our core. It demands courage to face the possibility of loss, to resist the temptation of possession, and to embrace the other as a fellow creator rather than a mere object. Through this lens, love becomes not a weakness but a battlefield of strength, where the spirit is forged and refined. In this way, Nietzsche's dark warning about modern love is not a condemnation but a profound lesson. It teaches us that love, when misunderstood, can diminish us, but when embraced with wisdom and strength, it can elevate us. It calls us to awaken from the illusions that bind us and to approach love with eyes wide open and hearts unafraid. Only then can love become the powerful, transformative force Nietzsche envisioned, a force that does not consume the self but propels it toward greater heights of being. In the labyrinth of human emotions, love stands out as one of the most complex and paradoxical experiences, a realm where desire and power intertwine with vulnerability and risk. Nietzsche's exploration of love ventures beyond the simple romantic tales to reveal a profound psychological drama, one where the interplay of power and desire can either fuel the flourishing of the self or lead to its erasure. This tension, Nietzsche teaches, is essential to understanding both the beauty and the danger inherent in modern love. At its core, love is a meeting of wills, a dynamic encounter between two forces, each seeking expression and affirmation. Nietzsche's concept of the will to power is fundamental here, as it helps us grasp the invisible currents beneath love's surface. The will to power is not merely a desire to dominate others, but the fundamental drive within all life to assert itself, to grow, to create, and to overcome challenges. In love, this will manifests as the striving to be recognized, valued, and intertwined with another without surrendering one's identity. Yet, this meeting of wills is fraught with tension because love also involves vulnerability. To love deeply is to open oneself to the risk of loss, rejection, or transformation. Nietzsche recognized that love's power lies precisely in this tension, the simultaneous desire to connect and the fear of being consumed or diminished. This paradox is the heart of love's psychological drama. How does one maintain individuality and strength while embracing intimacy and interdependence? Modern love, Nietzsche warns, often falters here because many confuse desire with dependency. Desire, when healthy, is a creative force that energizes the individual and the relationship, inspiring growth and mutual enrichment. But when desire becomes a craving that seeks to fill an inner void, it slips into dependency. In this state, the lover risks losing the boundaries that define their selfhood, becoming absorbed into the other's identity rather than maintaining a separate, autonomous existence. This risk of self-erasure is what Nietzsche finds most troubling about the way love is practiced today. When love demands complete surrender or conformity, it no longer nourishes the will to power but undermines it. The dependent lover sacrifices their creative impulse, their capacity to grow independently, and instead clings to the relationship as a source of identity. This psychological surrender weakens the spirit, leading to resentment, dissatisfaction, or despair when the inevitable challenges arise. Nietzsche's psychology of love thus demands a radical rethinking of what it means to desire and be desired. Love must be a space where both partners assert their wills without crushing the other, where desire is a dance of mutual empowerment rather than a struggle for control or a means of escape. The will to power in love requires balance, a recognition that to give oneself is not to lose oneself, but to engage in a creative exchange that heightens individuality rather than erasing it. Furthermore, Nietzsche exposes the subtle ways power operates in love relationships. Beneath the veneer of tenderness and mutual care, love can mask struggles for dominance and control. These struggles are not always overt, but emerge in the patterns of behavior, emotional expectations, and unspoken demands that shape the relationship. Nietzsche challenges us to see love honestly, recognizing how power dynamics influence attachment and conflict. To love authentically is to confront these dynamics openly and strive to transcend them, creating a relationship where power is shared and creativity thrives. This perspective disrupts many comforting myths about love as selfless devotion or harmonious unity. Nietzsche's vision is more raw and demanding. Love is a crucible where strength and vulnerability are tested, where the boundaries of self are both challenged and reinforced. The goal is not fusion, but a vigorous encounter where two distinct wills meet and create something new without annihilating each other. In embracing this view, we are called to cultivate self-awareness and courage. We must confront our own desires honestly, recognizing when they are motivated by genuine growth and when they mask fears or dependencies. We must also learn to respect the other's will to power, allowing space for their individuality, even as we seek connection. This mutual respect is the foundation for a love that empowers rather than diminishes, that celebrates difference rather than demands sameness. Nietzsche's insight also has profound implications for how we navigate the challenges and conflicts inherent in love. Rather than seeing disagreements as threats to unity, we can view them as opportunities for deeper understanding and self-overcoming. Conflict, when approached with strength and openness, becomes a means to refine the relationship and the selves involved. It is through wrestling with difference and tension that love achieves its highest potential as a force of transformation. Ultimately, Nietzsche's psychology of love calls us to embrace the paradoxes of desire and power with courage and clarity. Love is not a safe harbor but a frontier, a space of risk, challenge, and profound growth. It demands that we maintain our individuality even as we reach toward the other, that we balance assertion with surrender, and that we recognize love as a dynamic interplay of wills rather than a static state of being. By understanding love through the lens of will to power, we free ourselves from the illusions that trap us in dependency and disillusionment. We learn to love not as victims of passion, but as creators of our shared reality, forging relationships that honor the complexity of human desire and the depth of our individuality. In this way, Nietzsche's teaching on the psychology of love offers a path to deeper connection, greater freedom, and the transformative power that true love can embody. Nietzsche's critique of modern love extends beyond the personal and psychological. It reaches into the social fabric that shapes how we conceive and live relationships. One of his most profound concerns was the insidious influence of the herd mentality on modern romance, a force that quietly molds individuals to conform to collective ideals rather than to their own authentic desires. In the arena of love, this herd mentality manifests as a set of cultural norms, cliches, and expectations that dilute the uniqueness of personal connection and suppress the boldness required for genuine intimacy. At the heart of Nietzsche's warning lies his distrust of the herd, which he saw as the collective mass that prioritizes safety, sameness, and mediocrity over individuality and greatness. The herd values comfort and conformity, discouraging deviation or the pursuit of personal excellence. When applied to love, this herd mentality encourages a uniform approach, standardized roles, predictable behaviors, and formulaic ideas about romance that promise happiness, but often deliver sameness and dissatisfaction. Modern society, Nietzsche observed, floods us with images and narratives about what love should look like: the perfect partner, the ideal relationship milestones, the romantic gestures to emulate. These images create a script that many feel compelled to follow, not because it resonates with their true selves but because it offers the illusion of belonging and acceptance. This social pressure to conform suppresses the individual's creative will, replacing it with a herd-approved version of love that fits neatly into cultural expectations. The danger here is profound love, which should be a realm of bold creation and self-expression, becomes a mere performance, a role played to meet the approval of others rather than to fulfill the desires of one's own spirit. Nietzsche challenges us to recognize this dynamic and resist the temptation to reduce our intimate lives to a series of socially sanctioned rituals. True love demands courage, the courage to step outside the herd, to reject the cliches, and to forge connections that reflect our unique values and inner truths. This resistance to the herd is no small task. The pressure to conform in matters of love can be subtle and pervasive. It infiltrates our conversations, our media consumption, and even our self-perception. Nietzsche knew that the herd's power lies not only in overt commands but in the silent assumptions that shape our thinking and behavior. To break free requires vigilance and a willingness to question deeply held beliefs about love and relationships. Nietzsche's disdain for herd mentality also connects to his broader philosophy of self-overcoming. To love authentically is to undertake a journey of becoming, one that challenges the individual to grow beyond inherited values and collective norms. The herd's version of love promotes comfort and predictability, but Nietzsche calls us toward a path that is often lonely and difficult, a path where love is a creative act that demands honesty, risk, and the forging of new values. Moreover, the herd mentality's impact on modern romance fosters a kind of spiritual mediocrity. When love is shaped by external expectations rather than internal conviction, it loses its transformative power. Instead of being a crucible for self-discovery and mutual growth, love becomes stagnant, a predictable pattern that neither challenges nor inspires. Nietzsche's vision is stark: to live fully, to love deeply, we must reject the herd's bland prescriptions and embrace the unknown, the uncertain, and the uniquely personal. This rebellion against the herd also implies a radical individualism in love. Nietzsche does not advocate selfishness or isolation but calls for a love that honors individuality and difference. He envisions relationships where two distinct wills meet, each fully realized and respected, rather than melting into a homogenized union dictated by societal norms. Such relationships are dynamic and evolving, fostering creativity and growth rather than conformity and complacency. The herd mentality also tends to equate love with safety and stability, which Nietzsche views with suspicion. While security is a human desire, Nietzsche warns that overvaluing it in love can lead to stagnation and the suppression of passion. The herd promotes comfort, but Nietzsche's ideal love embraces challenge, conflict, and transformation. This love does not seek to avoid pain or difference, but to use them as fuel for becoming stronger and more authentic. Understanding Nietzsche's warning about the herd mentality invites us to reflect on how we participate in collective narratives about love. Are we living according to our own convictions and desires, or are we unconsciously enacting roles shaped by others? This question is vital because the answer shapes not only our romantic lives but our capacity for freedom and self-creation. To break free from the herd requires courage and self-awareness. It means rejecting the easy path of conformity and embracing the uncertainty of forging new ways of loving. It calls us to be artists of our own relationships, inventing forms of connection that reflect our deepest values and creative impulses. This is no small undertaking, but Nietzsche assures us that it is the only path to love that is truly life-affirming. In resisting the herd, we open ourselves to a love that is vibrant, unpredictable, and deeply personal. We create space for relationships that challenge us, inspire us, and push us beyond the comfortable confines of social expectations. Nietzsche's warning is not a call to solitude, but an invitation to engage with love as a dynamic force that demands and rewards our fullest humanity. Thus, Nietzsche's critique of herd mentality in modern romance is a powerful reminder that love is not a formula to follow but a frontier to explore. It urges us to reject the bland sameness of the herd and to embrace the wild, often difficult, but ultimately enriching journey of loving authentically and courageously. Nietzsche's philosophy does not end in mere critique or warning. It calls us toward a higher vision of love, a vision where love is not a retreat into comfort or dependency, but a powerful force for self-overcoming and transformation. To understand this call, we must first grasp Nietzsche's fundamental principle: life's highest aim is the growth of the individual through struggle, creativity, and the relentless pursuit of becoming. Love, far from being an obstacle or distraction, can be one of the most potent engines driving this profound journey. For Nietzsche, love is not a passive state or a gentle feeling. It is a dynamic, often tumultuous force that challenges us to confront ourselves and the world. True love demands courage, for it forces us to face the rawness of our desires, fears, and imperfections. It is a battlefield where the self is tested and reshaped, where weakness is exposed but also where strength is born. This transformation is not comfortable, but it is essential. Without it, the spirit remains stagnant and unfulfilled. The call to embrace love as a force for self-overcoming means refusing the temptation to see love as mere consolation or escape from life's hardships. Nietzsche's warning about modern love's illusions reminds us that the safe, predictable romances offered by society are often traps that dull our will rather than sharpen it. Instead, Nietzsche invites us to engage with love as a challenge that beckons us to grow beyond our current limitations. Love is the arena in which the will to power is exercised most vividly, demanding that we extend ourselves, confront pain, and create new meanings. This process of self-overcoming through love requires a profound shift in perspective. Rather than seeking to possess or control the other, Nietzsche encourages us to see love as an encounter between two creative forces, two wills to power, that meet not to dominate, but to inspire and elevate each other. It is a relationship of mutual challenge, where each partner pushes the other to expand, question, and transcend old patterns. Such love is a dance of becoming, not a static union, but a continuous forging of new possibilities. Moreover, Nietzsche's vision of transformative love emphasizes the importance of authenticity. To truly love another is to embrace them not as an idealized fantasy or a means to fulfill one's desires, but as a whole, complex being with their own will and power. This radical acceptance does not soften or dilute the relationship, but deepens it, demanding honesty and courage from both partners. Authentic love is fearless because it acknowledges the risks and uncertainties inherent in opening oneself fully to another. Nietzsche also highlights the role of suffering in this transformative love. Rather than shying away from pain or conflict, love should be understood as a crucible where suffering is not avoided but transmuted. Painful experiences, betrayals, and disappointments are not signs of failure but opportunities for growth and strengthening. The will to power is exercised not in the absence of struggle, but precisely through it, turning adversity into a source of creative energy and deeper understanding. This perspective radically reframes common attitudes toward love's challenges. Instead of seeking to eliminate tension or avoid discomfort, Nietzsche calls us to embrace these elements as vital to the evolution of the self and the relationship. Love becomes a process of alchemy, where base experiences are transformed into spiritual gold. Through this lens, love is no longer a gentle balm, but a fiery forge, shaping us into stronger, more vibrant beings. Nietzsche's call to transformative love also has profound implications for how we relate to ourselves within relationships. Self-overcoming in love demands that we remain true to our own path, even as we engage deeply with another. It requires maintaining our individuality and not sacrificing our values or dreams for the sake of harmony. This balance between connection and autonomy is difficult but necessary for love to be a source of real growth rather than dependence. In this way, Nietzsche's philosophy challenges prevailing notions of love as sacrifice or submission. Instead, he envisions a love that respects the sovereignty of each individual while fostering creative union. This kind of love is expansive. It does not limit but amplifies the potential of both partners. It calls forth the Übermensch within each, encouraging them to rise above herd values and mundane existence toward a higher mode of being. Ultimately, Nietzsche's call to embrace love as a force for self-overcoming is a call to live boldly and fully. It asks us to see love not as a passive experience but as an active engagement with life's deepest challenges and greatest possibilities. To love in this way is to say yes to the whole of existence, the joy and the suffering, the harmony and the conflict, and to use love as a catalyst for becoming who we truly are. This vision is not easy, nor is it guaranteed. It requires strength, resilience, and a willingness to confront the unknown. But Nietzsche assures us that through this embrace of love's transformative power, we achieve not only deeper relationships, but a richer, more authentic life. Love in its highest form is the greatest teacher and the most profound path to self-realization. In this light, Nietzsche's dark warnings about modern love become luminous invitations to transcend the illusions that bind us and to engage with love as the fiery crucible of our becoming. It is here, in this sacred struggle, that love reveals its true power, not to possess or limit, but to liberate and transform. In reflecting on Nietzsche's dark warning about modern love, we come face to face with a profound challenge to recognize the illusions and dangers that lurk beneath romantic ideals, and to refuse the trap of emotional dependency and herd conformity. Yet, this warning is not a denial of love's power, but a call to awaken, to see love as a dynamic force, where power, desire, and individuality meet in a delicate balance. Nietzsche invites us to embrace love not as a surrender, but as a battlefield of self-overcoming, where vulnerability and strength coexist, and where true transformation occurs. To love authentically is to courageously confront life's contradictions, to resist the herd's safety, and to engage with love as a creative, life-affirming force that propels us toward becoming our highest selves. Through this lens, love transcends mere feeling. It becomes the fiery crucible in which our spirit is tested, refined, and ultimately liberated.